I never thought I'd be sitting here telling this story, but I honestly need to know if I overreacted. I mean, my entire life was flipped upside down, and the worst part is, it was all for a handful of fleeting, meaningless popularity points. So, I need you to listen to every detail, every agonizing moment, and then tell me, was I wrong for completely destroying the lives of the girl I loved and the best friend who betrayed me? Simply because they decided their social standing was more important than our 3-year relationship and our decade-long friendship? When I found out the real reason she dumped me, and how elaborate their plan was, I felt a kind of cold, quiet rage I didn't even know I was capable of. You know that feeling when the floor drops out from under you? That's what happened, but instead of falling, I started planning, and trust me, what I planned was monumental. Tell me if you would have done the same thing. It all started back when Sarah and I first got together in sophomore year of high school. We were inseparable. We were the classic, slightly awkward, but totally happy couple. I was always the nerd, the guy who spent weekends building gaming PCs, playing D&D, and getting perfect grades in AP Physics. Sarah, well, she was brilliant, kind, and beautiful, but she was just as comfortable as me staying in on a Friday night watching documentaries or arguing over the correct timeline for the Star Wars universe. We had our own little world, and honestly, I thought it was perfect. My best friend, Mark, had been in my life since we were kids. He was the goofy, outgoing one, the social chameleon who could talk to anyone. He didn't share my love for all things academic or sci-fi, but he was fiercely loyal, and he was the glue that kept me tethered to the normal world. We were a trio, me, Sarah, and Mark. The three of us navigating the minefield of high school together, totally okay with being on the fringes of the in crowd. But then senior year hit, and something shifted in Sarah. It wasn't immediate, but it was like a slow, insidious current pulling her away from our shared shore. She started noticing the popular girls, the ones who wore expensive clothes, always had the latest phones, and who held court in the cafeteria. She started dropping hints about wanting to join the cheerleading squad, something she'd never shown the slightest interest in before. She began obsessing over her Instagram feed, stressing about her follower count, and spending hours getting ready just to go to school. I noticed, of course, and I tried to be supportive, thinking it was just a phase. I'd tell her she was beautiful no matter what, and that our friends were all the popularity we needed. She'd just smile vaguely and say, "You don't get it, Ben. It's not just about me. It's about networking, about college applications, about being seen." I just shrugged it off, assuming she was just feeling the senior year pressure. Mark, meanwhile, seemed to be encouraging her. He was already friends with a lot of the popular crowd because of his easygoing personality, and he started introducing her to them, always making sure she was included in their small parties and study groups. I thought he was just being a good friend, helping her expand her circle. I was completely oblivious. The real trouble started about 3 months before graduation. Sarah began canceling our regular dates. "I have to study with the group," or "I'm going to that mixer Mark invited me to," she'd say. The intimate, nerdy talks we used to have were replaced with her recounting gossip about the A-list kids. Our connection felt like a weak radio signal, constantly fading in and out. Then came the day she sat me down at our favorite booth in the library. She was wearing a new, trendy outfit, and her face was carefully made up. She didn't look like my Sarah. She looked like a polished version of the girl she admired. "Ben," she said, her voice shaky but firm, "we need to talk. I can't do this anymore. We're too different. You're going to MIT to build robots, and I need to focus on my future. I need to be seen as a serious contender for this scholarship, and honestly, the way things are, this relationship is holding me back." I was stunned. 3 years, countless late nights, and 1,000 shared jokes, and she was ending it over college applications? It felt surreal. I asked her what she meant. "We're not compatible anymore, Ben," she insisted, avoiding my eyes. "You're happy in the shadows, and I need to step into the light. And it's not fair to you to drag you along." I felt a deep, piercing pain, but I told her I understood. I loved her enough to let her go, even if it shattered me. I walked out of that library feeling like a ghost, completely unaware of the malicious truth that lay beneath her vague excuses. Mark was there for me, of course. He put his arm around me, bought me pizza, and trashed Sarah for being so shallow. I cried on his shoulder, thanking him for being the one true friend I had left. So that was the situation I was in. Heartbroken, confused, and feeling utterly disposable. I had given her my whole heart, and she tossed it aside like yesterday's trash. But the worst part was still hidden from me. It took about 3 weeks for the fog of grief to lift just enough for me to start paying attention again. That's when I saw it. Sarah was suddenly the it girl. She was always with the popular crew, laughing a little too loudly, dressed a little too perfectly. And who was always right there, her biggest supporter, her new wingman, Mark. Not only that, but they were doing things together. Not just in a group, but a lot of one-on-one time, coffee runs, and late-night study sessions. The pieces didn't fit. Mark was supposed to be comforting me, not practically dating the girl who dumped me. I confronted him. I was shaking, not with sadness, but with a growing suspicion that felt like acid in my stomach. "What's going on, Mark?" I demanded. "You and Sarah are suddenly everywhere." He just gave me this fake, easy smile. "Dude, chill. She's going through a lot, and I'm just helping her transition. You know, making sure she doesn't crash and burn. We're just friends." I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. But something in his eyes, a brief flicker of guilt quickly masked by false concern, told me everything I needed to know. The betrayal tasted like rust. Before I tell you what happened next, what I did when I finally uncovered the full, shocking truth of their scheme, I want you to pause this video right now and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have let it go and walked away? Or would you have fought back? The truth came out a few days later, and it was devastatingly simple. I found an old, broken phone of Sarah's she'd asked me to fix months ago. It was a nerdy habit of mine, and I'd just never gotten around to it. I managed to resurrect it for a few minutes, just to transfer some of the photos I loved to my hard drive. But then, an unsent draft text message popped up. It wasn't to me. It was to Mark. It was the entire plan laid out cold. It read, Phase 1, the breakup. Done. Ben bought the incompatible future, line completely. He's heartbroken but not angry. Good. Phase 2, the rebrand. Next week I officially join the crew. I need to be seen as single, unattached, and available. Being the nerd's girlfriend is a social liability. Everyone knows Mark and I are close, so it's a seamless transition to being his friend, not yours. He can introduce me around. Phase 3, the ascent. Once I'm fully integrated, I don't need Mark anymore, but he's useful for now. I just need to be on the homecoming court. That's the ticket. It's the only way to beat Tiffany for the college scholarship. Ben was never going to get me there. This whole thing is purely tactical. Do not mention any of this to Ben ever. I need him to stay a sad puppy for a while. He's the only guy who can fix my laptop before finals. Reading those words felt like a physical blow. It wasn't about college, or compatibility, or the light. It was a cold, calculated climb up the social ladder, and I was just a weight she had to shed, a social liability. And Mark? He wasn't comforting me. He was actively facilitating my destruction. All for the fleeting ego boost of being close to the rising star. The rage I felt was so potent it was almost calm. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt a quiet, laser-focused determination to make them pay a price that matched the depth of their betrayal. I had the means. I had the brains. And now, I had the motive. My revenge was planned with the precision of a chess grandmaster. It was beautiful in its simplicity and utterly devastating in its execution. First, I uploaded a specific, heavily edited picture of Sarah, one where she looked less than flattering and was making a weird face, to a burner account, and created a fake, satirical fan club for her. This was the first small crack in her perfect image. Then I turned my attention to Mark. Mark's parents were wealthy, and he had an image of being a generous, easygoing guy. Using my coding skills, the very skills Sarah dismissed, I managed to access his school email account. I didn't change anything, just read. I found months of correspondence where he was blatantly cheating on tests. He'd somehow managed to hack into the school's server to get advance copies of the exams. This was a nuclear bomb. I compiled all the evidence, the emails, the timestamps, the files he accessed, and put it into an anonymous encrypted package. The school had a zero-tolerance policy, But the true masterpiece was my final move, the one that directly addressed Sarah's core motivation: the scholarship and the popularity. Remember that homecoming court election she desperately needed to win? Well, the entire school voted on a digital ballot system. A system I had helped the tech teacher set up earlier in the year. 2 days before the election, I anonymously emailed the entire senior class that single, damning text message I found on Sarah's old phone. The one outlining the 3 phases, calling me a social liability, and admitting the entire relationship was a tactical move. I didn't need to say more. The message spoke for itself. The student body, fickle as they are, thrives on drama and authenticity. They loved me and Sarah as the awkward, cute couple. They hated seeing one of their own so cynically manipulated. The response was immediate and overwhelming. On the day of the election, the drama reached a fever pitch. First, the principal called Mark into his office. Within an hour, an all-school announcement confirmed a severe academic integrity breach had been discovered, and Mark was being immediately expelled. His college acceptance was revoked, and his future was completely derailed. He was broken. Then came the homecoming court announcement. Sarah didn't just lose. She came in dead last. The entire auditorium was buzzing. She was booed as she walked off the stage. The popular clique, seeing their star turn into a pariah, instantly dropped her. Nobody wanted to be associated with the girl who cynically used her sweet, nerdy boyfriend to climb a ladder. Within the day, the fake fan club I started was flooded with real, savage comments, and her follower count plummeted. The girl who wanted to step into the light found herself brutally exposed and alone in the harshest glare imaginable. My final move was the quietest. I fixed her laptop, as she'd asked, and left her a single, printed page with the text message draft she sent Mark. I signed it simply: the social liability. She looked at me, her eyes wide, tears streaming down her carefully made-up face, and she knew. I didn't say a word. I just walked away. The aftermath was exactly what they deserved. Mark had to move to a different state to attend community college, and essentially start his life over, ruined by his own greed and betrayal. Sarah became a ghost. She was shunned, her scholarship chances evaporated because of the scandal, and she was forced to go to a state school far below her potential. I, on the other hand, graduated at the top of my class and went off to MIT. My life was painful for a while, but it was my life, on my terms, unburdened by their lies. The pain of the breakup faded, replaced by the deep satisfaction of knowing I had protected my own worth. I didn't just take revenge. I orchestrated a consequence that perfectly matched their crime. They sacrificed love and friendship for popularity, and I made sure they lost both the people they betrayed and the superficial standing they chased. So I ask you one last time. Knowing that they planned and executed this brutal, calculated betrayal against me, was I wrong for completely and utterly destroying their futures? I don't think so. Like this video if you were totally on my side when I delivered that final, shocking blow. Subscribe for more incredibly dramatic, emotional, and completely true stories from the Reddit universe. And let me know your final, unfiltered thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section below. I'll be reading every single one. I'll see you all in the next story.